I should've known better to lie to one.
Hello, my friends. Today, we're taking a journey through the life of an unforgettable talent, the man whose captivating voice earned him the title of Scotland's Ray Charles.
I won't let you down, won't let you should've known better. Silver, you've got me right.
Yes, I'm talking about Jim Diamond. It was in 1984 that Jim soared to the top of the UK charts with I Should Have Known Better. This melancholic ballad, with its memorable chorus, also reached #1 in Australia, but this wasn't the first time he had captured the public's heart. 2 years earlier, Jim had reached #3 on the charts with I Won't Let You Down, a song created with his synth-pop band, Ph.D., which included the musicians Tony Hymas and Simon Phillips. With its unique arrangement and striking chorus, this song showcased Jim's talent as both a songwriter and performer. His voice was clear and natural, with a quality that could easily be mistaken for a woman's when recorded. Though it wasn't falsetto, in his youth, Jim sang in such a high register that, at times, it sounded feminine. This vocal style was smooth, precise, and had the richness of a choir soloist. Jim wasn't just a talented musician and a man with a generous soul. His commitment to charity was reflected in various actions, including his participation in Fairy Aid with the recording of Let It Be. And to sum up his essence, in 1984, at the peak of his success, Jim said, "I'm happy to be #1, but next week, I don't want people to buy my record, I want them to buy the Band-Aid single." Band-Aid was a supergroup created by the musician Bob Geldof to raise funds to combat famine in Ethiopia through the release of the single Do They Know It's Christmas? This gesture reveals the depth of Jim's character, who, even at the height of his fame, put others' well-being above his own success. In October 2015, he passed away in his sleep and left an immense void in the hearts of his fans who saw him as a big legend. Stay with us as we explore more about the life and music of this incredible artist. We have plenty more details and fun facts coming your way. If you enjoy today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share this video with fellow music lovers. Born in 1951 in Glasgow, Scotland, Jim was the son of Sarah, a dedicated seamstress, and Lawrence, a firefighter who often sang at parties. From a young age, he was immersed in a musical world, influenced by the soul records his older brother brought home. Legendary artists like Ray Charles, Sam Cooke, and Otis Redding shaped his musical taste. "That was the music I wanted to sing because that was what I loved," he would later say. At 14, young Jim began his journey with the band The Method. In the mid-60s, he became the lead vocalist for the group Jade, alongside talented bassist Chris Glenn. With Jade, Jim toured the UK, bringing his powerful and passionate voice to clubs and colleges. In 2011, he reflected on this time in Blues and Soul magazine. "It was fantastic, the best days of my life. There were no thoughts of making records, no thoughts of making a living. It was just pure joy, going out and singing classic songs." After moving to London, Jim formed the band Bandit, which included bassist Cliff Williams, who would later join AC/DC. Signed to Arista Records, the band released their only album in 1976. Although the rise of punk rock overshadowed its release, the album brought Jim to the attention of a wider audience, showcasing his skills as a versatile songwriter and vocalist. He wrote 5 of the album's tracks, exploring a variety of styles that highlighted his talent and passion for music. The music critic Tony Stewart from the NME magazine hailed Jim as an inspired and remarkable vocalist who projects well, showing not only a passion for music, but also an impressive range that he uses fully. Despite this praise, Bandit didn't last long and eventually disbanded. By this time, Jim had met Alexis Corner, known as the father of British blues. Corner, a demanding figure with high standards, became a crucial mentor in Jim's career, collaborating with him on several projects, including the albums Just Easy and The Lost Album. Alexis's high expectations helped Jim hone his musical skills and expand his network within the music industry. Word of Jim and his powerful voice was spreading, and he was invited to fly to Los Angeles to form a band called Slick Diamond with the guitarist Earl Slick, who had worked with David Bowie, and drummer Carmine Appice, who had played with Rod Stewart. Before the project could take shape, Jim was called back to England to form Ph.D. with Tony Hymas and Simon Phillips, former members of Jeff Beck's band. It was with Ph.D. that he made history, appearing on the debut of MTV in the US in 1981 with the single Little Susie's on the Up. Although the band released 2 studio albums, it was I Won't Let You Down that really put them on the map, reaching number 3 on the UK charts in 1982. Unfortunately, Ph.D.'s success was abruptly cut short when Jim contracted hepatitis, an illness that prevented him from touring. Unable to perform live, the group disbanded, but this was far from the end of our star.
'Cause little Susie's on the up. Suddenly it's not again. Feel that it feels inside. Warriors, as she closes round you, sings and the politicians all talk. Won't let you down, won't let you down. There's no answer to it. Just gotta run such a great pity. You're not right. Down like a roundabout, I find you. Spin taken to the limit. Not 1, 2, not 2, 2, not 3. I know it's only a game to you.
When Ph.D. disbanded, Jim didn't waste any time. Signing with A&M Records, he released one of the biggest hits of the decade in 1984, I Should Have Known Better. This unforgettable ballad topped the charts in both the UK and Australia and still echoes on the radio today. It's a true masterpiece of emotion. Co-written with Graham Lyle, I Should Have Known Better explores deep themes of regret and loss. The music video tells the story of a music producer who, after making mistakes in his marriage, finds himself estranged from his family and engulfed in sadness. As Jim sings, it's almost as if he's narrating the thoughts of the man, reflecting on everything he should have done differently. In 1985, Jim joined a group of celebrities to release You'll Never Walk Alone, a powerful tribute to the victims of the Bradford City Stadium fire. Once again, he reached number 1 on the charts, proving that his voice was not just a tool for entertainment, but for solidarity. In 1986, Jim gifted us with Hi Ho Silver, a hit that climbed to number 5 on the UK charts. This song was composed in honor of his father, who had been a firefighter and had passed away shortly before. Initially, Jim wasn't keen on writing a song for a TV series, but when he found out the main character of the show, Boone, was a former firefighter, he allowed it to be used as the theme song. It was the perfect tribute, not just to his father, but to all those who dedicated their lives to helping others. In 1987, he participated in the re-recording of Let It Be with the Ferry Aid Collective, which reached number 1 on the charts, this time to help the victims of the Zeebrugge disaster in Belgium, where a ferry capsized, claiming the lives of 193 passengers. Jim was confident in his talent and abilities, and with a career bolstered by 3 lucrative songwriting revenue streams, he could do whatever he wanted. I never stopped making music. It's who I am. After that wonderful success I had, I took some time to raise my family, and that gave me as much as music ever did. I'm a very lucky man, he once said.
Double cross fire. I never thought that I could feel this way about. Always be true. For our love, you fill me with desire. The way you walk and talk just tell you how I feel. Your heart I'll never steal. I'm the prisoner who gotta be so strong, so strong. High silver, here come the Lone Ranger.
Even though the spotlight faded after that period, Jim never stopped making music. In 1993, he released a self-titled album that broke into the UK Top 20, and the following year, he released Sugarly Days, a collection of his favorite Scottish folk songs. By the late 90s, Jim found a new partnership that breathed fresh life into his career. He teamed up with the talented saxophonist Snake Davis, performing on various stages, blending an engaging mix of soul and emotion. This collaboration culminated in 2005 with the release of the album Sold and Healed. In 2011, Jim once again showed the size of his heart. In a final act of solidarity, he joined other Scottish musicians to record City of Soul, an album of covers aimed at raising funds for the charity Cash for Kids, which helps, to this day, children across the UK. For Jim, music was always more than chords and lyrics. It was a way to make a difference, to help those in need. On October 8, 2015, the world unexpectedly lost this great artist. Jim passed away at the age of 64 while he was asleep. For his family, it was a profound shock, a loss that is still difficult to accept. His daughter, Sarah, recalls how hard it is to listen to her father's music because each note brings his presence back. "We didn't realize he was sick. He just went to bed and died in his sleep. He died from pulmonary edema, an accumulation of fluid in the lungs." Jim never sought the spotlight, but his art found him. Speaking to the Daily Record, Sarah shared a story that perfectly sums up who Jim Diamond was. When I Should Have Known Better reached the top of the charts, the record label insisted on speaking directly to him to deliver the big news. And how did Jim react? With the humility that defined him, he celebrated the success, but quickly shifted the attention to something greater, encouraging everyone to buy the charity single Do They Know It's Christmas by the Band Aid Project, created by the musician Bob Geldof to raise funds to fight famine in Ethiopia. That was Jim Diamond, a man who, despite his fame, never lost sight of his commitment to others. He used his voice not just to sing, but to help. Just 2 weeks before his death, Jim faced the sadness of losing his own mother, a grief that deeply affected him. And then shortly after, he himself passed away, leaving behind an immense void, but also a legacy that will never be forgotten. Did you already know Jim Diamond's story? Do his songs bring back fond memories? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And if you want more videos like this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every week. Thanks so much for staying with us, and we'll see you next week.